The anticipated clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, set for September 12, 2025, at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, has sparked intense debate among boxing professionals, fans, and analysts. This matchup, pitting two pound-for-pound superstars against each other, is being hailed as one of the most significant fights in recent boxing history. The discussion surrounding the bout centers on the substantial weight difference, the fighters' respective skill sets, and their mental fortitude. With Canelo, the undisputed super middleweight champion, facing Crawford, a welterweight who has moved up multiple weight classes, opinions are divided on who will emerge victorious. The insights from boxing experts, former champions, and trainers provide a rich tapestry of perspectives on this high-stakes encounter. The weight disparity is a focal point in the analysis of this fight. Canelo, who competes at 168 pounds, is a natural super middleweight with a proven track record against larger opponents. Crawford, on the other hand, has made his name at welterweight, 147 pounds, and recently moved up to junior middleweight, 154 pounds, where he secured a title against Israil Madrimov in August 2024. The jump to super middleweight represents a significant challenge, as Crawford will be giving up size and power to face a fighter who has dominated at 168 pounds against the likes of Gennady Golovkin, Caleb Plant, and Billy Joe Saunders. Critics argue that this size difference could be decisive, while supporters of Crawford believe his technical brilliance and boxing IQ can bridge the gap. Teddy Atlas, a renowned trainer and analyst, is one of the most vocal supporters of Crawford. On his podcast, Atlas emphasized Crawford's unique qualities, describing him as a fighter who transcends physical limitations. He dismissed concerns about Crawford's ability to handle Canelo's power, pointing to Crawford's composure and experience moving up weight classes. Atlas highlighted Crawford's impeccable timing and ability to slow down the pace of a fight, which allows him to see and exploit openings that others might miss. For Atlas, Crawford's undefeated record and champion mentality make him a formidable opponent, even against a fighter of Canelo's caliber. Atlas acknowledges Canelo's greatness but believes Crawford's intangibles give him the edge in what he predicts will be a closely contested battle. Tony Bellew, a former cruiserweight world champion, shares Atlas's optimism about Crawford's chances. Speaking to DAZN, Bellew praised Crawford's boxing brain, suggesting that his speed and sharpness could neutralize Canelo's pressure. Bellew acknowledged the size disadvantage but argued that Crawford's career-long perfection and focus on this fight, having targeted Canelo for 2 years, could lead to a minor upset. He envisions Crawford outboxing Canelo, using his movement and precision to win on points. Bellew contrasted this fight with a potential heavyweight clash between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, noting that while the latter would be a bigger spectacle for British boxing, Canelo Crawford is the purer boxing matchup. He believes Crawford will need to be flawless but sees him rising to the occasion. Not all experts are convinced of Crawford's prospects, however. Jaron "Boots" Ennis, the IBF welterweight champion, initially called the fight a 50-50 proposition but has since leaned toward Canelo. In an interview with FightHub TV, Ennis pointed to Canelo's experience against larger opponents, noting that Alvarez has consistently hurt fighters bigger than himself despite not being a natural 168-pounder. Ennis suggested that Crawford's decision to jump straight to super middleweight without a tune-up fight at 160 pounds could be a mistake. He argued that Crawford needs to acclimate to the weight and physicality of bigger fighters, as the muscle-building process might affect his sharpness. Ennis still sees the fight as competitive, but believes Canelo's power and size will likely prevail. Dimitri Bivol, another prominent voice in the boxing world, offered a nuanced perspective. Bivol, who has faced Canelo and respects weight class differences, admitted that Crawford's skills are exceptional. He described Crawford as one of his favorite active fighters, citing his ring intelligence and technical prowess. While Bivol cautioned against disregarding weight classes, a lesson he learned early in his career, he expressed confidence in Crawford's ability to adapt. Bivol stopped short of picking a winner but suggested that Crawford's boxing IQ could give him an edge, even against a naturally larger opponent like Canelo. Amir Khan, one of the few fighters to have faced both Canelo and Crawford, provided a unique perspective based on his first-hand experience. Khan, who was knocked out by Canelo in 2016 and stopped by Crawford in 2019, believes Crawford has a chance to win. He described Crawford as a big, strong welterweight whose skills and intelligence could trouble Canelo. Khan advised Crawford to stay mobile and box smartly to avoid Canelo's power punches. However, he also speculated that Canelo might be avoiding the fight, citing excuses that suggest reluctance to face Crawford's challenge. Khan's comments reflect his belief in Crawford's potential to pull off an upset, though his own losses to both fighters temper his endorsement. Julio Cesar Chavez, a Mexican boxing legend, offered a starkly different view. Speaking to Fight Hub TV, Chavez predicted a decisive victory for Canelo, going so far as to forecast a knockout. He described the matchup as uneven, arguing that while Crawford is a great fighter, Canelo operates in a different league due to his size and power. Chavez suggested that Crawford's motivation might be financial, implying that the payday is driving his decision to move up. For Chavez, Canelo's experience and physical advantages make the outcome a foregone conclusion, with a stoppage being the likely result. Oscar de la Hoya, despite his strained relationship with Canelo, also favored Alvarez. In an interview with Fight Hub TV, de la Hoya emphasized the historical rarity of a smaller fighter defeating a larger, equally skilled opponent. He praised Crawford's heart and technical ability but argued that Canelo's size and power would overwhelm him. De la Hoya dismissed the notion of Crawford being a significant threat, calling the matchup almost a no contest due to the physical disparity. His comments reflect a belief that talent alone cannot overcome the advantages of a bigger, stronger fighter like Canelo. Kyron Davis, a middleweight contender who has sparred both fighters, echoed concerns about the size difference. Speaking to Mill City Boxing, Davis described Canelo as a formidable opponent who can take a punch and set traps in the ring. He acknowledged Crawford's skills but questioned whether he could hurt Canelo with a single shot. Davis suggested that Crawford would need to target Canelo's body or exploit vulnerabilities like a cut to have a chance. While he left room for the possibility of an upset, Davis ultimately backed Canelo, citing his combination of size and skill as a decisive factor. Mikey Garcia, a former 4-division champion, expressed skepticism about the fight itself. In a conversation with Fight Hub TV, Garcia questioned the wisdom of Crawford moving up to 168 pounds, especially after struggling in his recent fight at 154 pounds against Madrimov. He praised Crawford's skills, calling him one of the best fighters he has seen, but argued that the size difference would be too much to overcome. Garcia noted that Canelo, who has never lost at super middleweight, is unlikely to drop below 166 pounds, further complicating Crawford's challenge. He suggested alternative paths for both fighters, such as Canelo moving up to 175 pounds to face Bivol or Artur Beterbiev, and Crawford focusing on opponents at 154 pounds. Garcia's disapproval stems from his belief that the fight is mismatched, despite Crawford's undeniable talent. The confirmation of the fight followed Canelo's victory over William Skull on May 3, 2025, in Saudi Arabia, where he added the IBF super middleweight title to his collection. The performance drew criticism for its lack of action, with Skull accused of fighting to survive rather than win. Crawford, who was ringside, defended Canelo, stating that he did what was necessary to secure the victory. Crawford expressed confidence in his ability to deliver a different kind of fight, promising to showcase his greatness on September 12. Canelo, for his part, expressed frustration with Skull's approach and looked forward to facing a fighter like Crawford, who he believes will engage and make for an exciting contest. The professional picks highlight the complexity of predicting the outcome. Supporters of Crawford, like Atlas and Bellew, emphasize his technical mastery, speed, and mental resilience. They believe his ability to control the ring and avoid Canelo's power punches could lead to a points victory. Conversely, those favoring Canelo, such as Chavez, De La Hoya, and Davis, point to his size, power, and experience at 168 pounds as insurmountable obstacles. Ennis and Garcia, while acknowledging Crawford's skills, lean toward Canelo due to the physical demands of the weight jump. Bivol and Khan offer more balanced views, recognizing Crawford's potential to surprise but cautioning against the challenges posed by the weight difference. Ultimately, the Canelo-Crawford fight represents a clash of contrasting strengths. Canelo brings size, power, and a proven track record against elite competition, while Crawford counters with speed, precision, and an unblemished record. The outcome will hinge on whether Crawford can neutralize Canelo's physical advantages with his superior boxing IQ or if Canelo's pressure and power will prove too much. As the boxing world awaits this monumental showdown, the debate among experts underscores the intrigue and uncertainty surrounding the fight. Fans and analysts alike will be watching closely to see if Crawford can defy the odds or if Canelo will solidify his status as the face of boxing.